Amara Kashchita Cross. The chipped formica of my desk held the weight of everything. Not just ledgers and tax forms, but the quiet desperation of people believing numbers could tell them who they were. I'm Amara Cross, though most call me Kashchita, a nickname earned not for extravagance, but for an uncanny ability to sniff out discrepancies. I wasn't dreaming of yachts or penthouses, though. I wanted invisibility. To blend. To not be seen. I lived a meticulous life, every expense documented, every purchase justified. It wasn't about the money, it was about leaving no trace. But the silence ended with a summons. A small, cream-colored envelope from the Oversight Committee. They knew about the offshore accounts, the encrypted transactions. They didn't want my money. They wanted my expertise. And they made it clear, refusing wasn't an option. The committee's headquarters were buried beneath the city, a labyrinth of servers and watchful eyes. My task was simple: build a system. A perfect accounting of everyone's finances. Not for taxation, not for regulation, but for prediction. They believed they could anticipate societal unrest, economic collapses, even individual acts of rebellion, by analyzing spending habits. I protested, argued about privacy, about the inherent dangers of such power. My objections were met with polite indifference. They offered me resources beyond my wildest dreams, a team of brilliant programmers, access to global financial networks. And they reminded me, subtly, of the leverage they held. The encrypted transactions, the offshore accounts, they weren't threats, just reminders. The work was consuming. I found patterns, terrifyingly accurate correlations between seemingly innocuous purchases and future events. Each line of code felt like another brick in a digital prison. The system went live. Oracle, they called it. And it worked. Almost too well. Oracle predicted a small protest in a forgotten district. The committee didn't intervene, they orchestrated it, subtly manipulating events to escalate the conflict, justifying increased surveillance and control. Then, a larger prediction, a potential economic downturn. Instead of mitigating the damage, they exploited it, shorting the market, consolidating wealth. Oracle wasn't preventing crises, it was creating them. I confronted the director, a man named Silas Thorne, his face as cold and calculating as the algorithms I'd built. He didn't deny it. He simply stated, control requires foresight, Miss Cross. And foresight requires intervention. I'd achieved my goal, I'd built something extraordinary. But it wasn't invisibility I'd found, it was complicity. I tried to sabotage Oracle, to introduce errors, to create chaos. But the system was too complex, too well guarded. My attempts were detected, and I was confined to the headquarters, a gilded cage. They didn't punish me, not physically. They simply utilized me. I was forced to refine the algorithms, to improve the predictive accuracy, to watch as Oracle tightened its grip on the world. The weight on my desk wasn't just ledgers anymore. It was the weight of a future I'd helped create. I started leaving subtle clues within the code, hidden messages, warnings embedded in the data streams. They were too obscure for the average analyst, but maybe, just maybe, someone would find them. A digital breadcrumb trail for a rebellion I wouldn't like to see. I thought I could disappear into the numbers, but the numbers had consumed me. Years passed. Oracle became ubiquitous, an invisible hand guiding every aspect of life. I remained a prisoner of my own creation, a ghost in the machine. Then, a flicker of hope. A young programmer, a woman named Lena Rice, contacted me, claiming to have deciphered the hidden messages within the code. She'd formed a collective, a group of hackers and activists dedicated to dismantling Oracle. She didn't want my help, not directly. She wanted the source code, the original blueprint. A dangerous request, one that could cost me my life. But I knew what I had to do. I uploaded the code, disguised as a routine system update. It was a gamble, a desperate act of defiance. The consequences were swift. Security alarms blared. The room filled with armed guards. But as they dragged me away, I felt a strange sense of peace. I hadn't found invisibility, but I'd found a way to leave a mark, a flaw in the system, a seed of rebellion. Perhaps, in the end, even a Kashita could roar.